For over 4 decades, the Fertitta family has been the leader in the Las Vegas locals gaming market. Starting from a single 5,000 square foot off-strip casino with 100 slot machines, 6 table games, and 90 employees, Red Rock Resorts has expanded into a portfolio of 18 properties, including 7 luxury resorts and 11 local casinos located in the city's prime neighborhoods, and now features over 16,000 machines, 300 table games, and 9,000 team members.
The city's afloat, and our love turns to
Red Rock Resorts is built on a family legacy. While the Strip began a building boom in the 90s, the Fertitta brothers were laying out a strategy to take advantage of the city's rapidly growing population and created the second largest gaming market in the country, the Las Vegas locals market. This plan has positioned the company's casinos to be in the heart of the city's fastest growing suburbs. Red Rock's collection of resorts and casinos blends modern luxury with the vibrant spirit of Las Vegas, offering high-energy gaming, luxurious rooms and suites, state-of-the-art immersive sports books, upscale dining, foodie hotspots, an array of unique meeting and convention spaces, live entertainment venues, movie theaters, and bowling centers. The company provides premium experiences catering to its diverse customers in the surrounding areas. Strategically located off the city's major highways, Red Rock Resorts provides convenient access and value with personalized service from team members that continually vote Red Rock Resorts the employer of choice in Nevada. Located in Summerlin, nestled against the mountains of scenic Red Rock Canyon, Red Rock Casino Resort and Spa is the largest casino off the Strip, offering unparalleled luxury in the heart of Las Vegas's premier suburb. Featuring 800 rooms and some of the world's most luxurious suites, an action-packed casino floor with the latest games, sportsbook, 14 restaurants, resort pool, and a wellness spa, Red Rock is a true Las Vegas gem. In Henderson, one of the city's fastest-growing suburbs, Green Valley Ranch blends old-world style with contemporary amenities set among sprawling acres of stunning grounds, offering a luxury boutique resort with a premium collection of restaurants and bars, the newest casino offerings including high-limit slot and table game rooms, a top-notch spa, and a beach-style pool and cabanas and movie theater. Red Rock Resort's newest property is Durango Casino and Resort, a stunning desert oasis in the heart of the burgeoning southwest neighborhood of Las Vegas, featuring a high-design casino flooded with natural light, chic rooms and suites, and a dining collection by some of the country's premier restaurateurs and chefs. Recently named Best Off-Strip Resort by Forbes, Durango is home to the first-of-its-kind food hall and a state-of-the-art immersive sportsbook. Red Rock Resort continues to attract top-tier talent with its innovative approach to content and guest experience.
Best spot to stay at. Amazing. You got to stay at Red Rock.
We're at Red Rocks now.
With the industry's best growth pipeline, Red Rock Resorts continues to be the trusted gaming operator, catering to over 2 million residents in Las Vegas and tourists seeking an alternative to the Strip and downtown.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to both Ron and David. I've had the pleasure of knowing Ron Barron for over 31 years. Unfortunately, I think that dates us both a little bit, Ron, but it's been a fun ride. Lorenzo and I are lucky enough that we were born in the city of Las Vegas, and I'll give you a little background on how that happened, but they always say, I'd rather be lucky than smart, but being both is a little bit better than one or the other. And, you know, my father and my mother were born and raised in Galveston, Texas, And at the age of 19 years old, my father was offloading cargo of bananas and cotton from ships at the Galveston Harbor. Looking for a brighter opportunity, he borrowed $100 from one of his friends and decided to drive out to Las Vegas looking for better opportunity. His first job was at the Tropicana Hotel as a bellman. He wasn't old enough yet to work in the casino, and so in the meantime, when he wasn't working as a bellman, he learned how to deal blackjack. At the age of 21, he got a blackjack dealing job at the Stardust Hotel and Casino, and he worked his way up through all the different management positions in the gaming industry until the mid-1970s when he reached the pinnacle of being a general manager of one of the casinos in downtown Las Vegas. It was then that he saw something that no one else saw in Las Vegas. All the casinos were basically located on the Las Vegas Strip for tourists or in downtown Las Vegas, which were small pieces of property, not really convenient, not great parking, but they had good value. And his idea was something that nobody had really thought about. He said, what if I build a casino specifically for the people that live and work in Las Vegas that support the casino industry? And so he bought a piece of property on the busiest local thoroughfare where all the employees on the Strip would migrate back to the suburbs of Las Vegas. He built a place that was simple. It was built on the foundation of what he would like as a customer: convenient parking, friendly employees, and value. 5,000 square foot casino, 100 slot machines, and 90 employees. Most people thought that he was crazy. They thought it wouldn't work, it had never been done before. But in fact, it was a raging success. And back in those days, it was very hard to borrow money in the casino business. So we did expansions out of free cash flow. And every year or two, we would knock out a wall, add other amenities, whether it be a sports book, a buffet, a bingo room. And that original property is where Lorenzo and I grew up in the family business. And while we were going to high school, and then both of us to college, I went to USC Business School, Lorenzo went to NYU Stern. But in those formative years, every free moment we had, we were either in meetings with my father, or I was dealing 25-cent craps with guys blowing cigar smoke in my face. It's quite an experience. Lorenzo was working in the race and sports book, learning the business. So we really learned the business, worked in all the various departments from the ground up. And when we came back and graduated from college, Lorenzo and I put together a strategy, and that strategy was, how do we take the unbelievable success that we've seen at this one casino, and how do we replicate it over and over and over again, and become the dominant player in what we call the Las Vegas locals market that hadn't really existed before. We did three things basically in preparation to grow the company. One, we went out, even as a very small company, to hire the best management team that we could find, whether it be in finance, operations, et cetera, so that we could scale the company and grow the company. Second, at the time, there was really no software available for managing casinos. So we developed our own proprietary analytics to be able to measure and maximize the performance of slot machines, labor productivity, player profitability, and we built our own in-house systems that have allowed us, we still use those systems today, to generate some of the highest margins in the gaming business. And the third thing that we did, having one single casino that we grew up in, was to go out and locate other locations way ahead of when the population was going to be there or the infrastructure was going to be there. So we went out and developed a pipeline for future growth. Get my next slide. So most people wouldn't think that when you hear the Las Vegas locals market, I think people think of, well, it's a truck stop with slot machines. It couldn't be anything further than the truth. It became the Las Vegas locals market because that's how we referred to it. And most people would be very surprised that it's actually the second largest gaming market other than the Las Vegas Strip in the United States. Bigger than New Jersey, bigger than Chicagoland, bigger than the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Speaking, of not just being a truck stop, with slot machines, Lorenzo and I have prided ourselves that every property is unique. We designed the property for the neighborhood and the demographics that it's in. And every property's got its own personality. It's very, very unique. This is Red Rock Resorts. It was opened in 2006 to rave reviews. Lorenzo and I personally got involved in designing all of the property. This is a pool that was designed as a theater in the round where there was a lot of energy and people watching, and it got looked at by a lot of people in the casino industry back then. We're very proud of this property. I think one of our core competencies that I want to go to is that Lorenzo and I's core competency is greenfield development. That's how we built this company. Finding the locations, getting the entitlements, personally being involved in the design, development, construction, and finally the operations of these properties. This is a T-Bone Steakhouse at Red Rock. It over and over again is known as one of the best steakhouses, a Las Vegas locals favorite that people go to. This is one of the suites that we have at Red Rock Resorts. You can see the strip in the background, unbelievable views. We literally have some of the nicest suites in the entire city of Las Vegas. And that's why when someone comes to stay with us one time, and maybe they didn't know about Las Vegas locals market, they stayed on the strip, once we get them to our place and they see the quality of what we have and the friendliness of the employees, they're customers with us for life. This is our newest casino, Durango. It was opened about a year ago in Las Vegas to rave reviews. It's got great word of mouth. It's got tons of natural light that floods into the casino. And it was named by Forbes magazine as the best off-strip resort in the Las Vegas Valley. And just to show how different all of our properties are and how unique they are, this is Green Valley Ranch. We opened in 2001, another boutique luxury property. We do tons of local business on the other side of Las Vegas, which is called Henderson, but we do great business with the tourists that want that more personalized, curated experience. And since COVID, we have had a big focus on moving to the wealthier, higher income customers. And we put in private gaming salons for both table games and slot machines at all of our luxury properties, and these have been a great success for the company. I'm going to show you what our current footprint in the valley looks like. If you look at the gray, that's McCarran International Airport. The green is the Las Vegas Strip, and the blue is downtown Las Vegas. So when my dad was working in the industry and they would get off after work, they didn't go straight home. They wanted to go somewhere to get a bite to eat, have a cocktail, or maybe even gamble a little bit. Downtown was not convenient from a parking point of view. It had value. The Strip was mainly focused on tourism, so not great value. That little red star just to the left of the Strip was the first locals casino on the busiest street at that time, where all the locals drove to the suburbs to go home. And that's where it all began. And then you can see what Lorenzo and I have been able to do with the other stars, 7 luxury casinos, full-scale regional entertainment destinations, and then the smaller dots are smaller casinos that range from 200 slot machines to 15 machines. trying to get the hub and the spoke of catering to Las Vegas locals all over the valley. Can we go back one slide? There we go. One of the things that Lorenzo and I love about the business thesis that we have here is we know the market is growing. The market's been growing ever since we were born in the city of Las Vegas for a lot of reasons. But the government in Las Vegas passed a law in 1997 that defined where a casino could be built off of the tourist corridor, the Las Vegas Strip. And Lorenzo and I took full advantage of that, getting ahead of the curve, owning the best locations, building the best properties off of major beltways, thoroughfares, where the infrastructure was going to be. Many of the sites we bought before there was anything there, because the law provided that you had to be ahead of the residential, because you can't be in proximity to an existing rooftop. So we were ahead of the development. We saw where the development was going, and we locked down a land bank for future growth and development. The other thing we love about Las Vegas is a stable regulatory environment that's there. Las Vegas has been regulating gaming longer than any other jurisdiction since 1931. The second place to get legalized was Atlantic City in the late 1970s. But gaming is the engine that drives the Nevada economy. It accounts for 43% of the GDP. We like that because they want to attract capital and operators. It's got the lowest gaming tax rate of anywhere in the country. It's 6.75%, which means that you can invest more capital because you're going to be more profitable than some states where they look at gaming as just a vice to raise taxes. In many of those jurisdictions, the taxes are north of 30% of gaming revenue. So Las Vegas continues to grow. This is Las Vegas as it looked when my father arrived in 1958, starting as a bellman at the Tropicana Hotel. It was recently torn down to make way for the new baseball team, the Las Vegas Athletics, which is under construction. And you'll see like where we are now. So where we are now is 2.2 million people. Las Vegas has been one of the fastest growing cities in all of the Las Vegas. It continues to grow at a very rapid pace. Here's the growth chart. You can see that if you go back in time to the 1970s, the Las Vegas population nearly doubled every decade through the early 2000s. It's projected to grow to 2.4 million people by the end of 2024, and another 200,000 people by 2029. And if you look out 10 years, the population is projected to be just under 3 million people. The other thing that has changed in Las Vegas is the type of person that is moving there. When Lorenzo and I were in the thick of it back in the 1980s and the building boom of Las Vegas started, Steve Wynn built the Mirage and then everything followed after that. The primary person moving to Las Vegas were people looking to be a taxi cab driver, a construction worker, cocktail waitress, and a blackjack dealer. That's not the case anymore. The people moving to Las Vegas now are wealthy people with their own business, with people that are looking to retire in Las Vegas for a lot of reasons because of great weather and low taxes. And you can see that the income of people in Las Vegas is growing exponentially. So it's creating a better customer for our business. This slide here basically takes a look at what the business can be. As I told you earlier, the business is about a $3 billion revenue opportunity off the Strip in Las Vegas. No one would have thought that it would be the second biggest market in the United States, but it is, and it continues to grow. And this projection basically says we have the possibility on the high end of the range over 10 years to double that $3 billion market to a $6 billion market. And there's no one positioned better than our company to take advantage of that growth. So somewhere between $1 billion on the low end, $2 billion in the middle case, $3 billion on the high end, and we're all about being the people that take advantage of that growth in the market. Brother Lorenzo, he's going to walk you through the performance of the company and our future growth plans.
So Ron and David, I know we're running a little bit short on time, so I'll get through this pretty quickly. But what I want to do is speak to you about our business model and why it is so unique. So first off, the supply-demand dynamics that Frank talked about, coupled with the fact that we have the A-plus locations from a real estate perspective in the market, allow us to really have a very strong business model that allows for our financial success. One of the things is that because we're distributed all around the Las Vegas Valley, we have what we believe is essentially a recurring revenue stream, because 75% of our customers come to our properties at least 4 times per month. That's contrasted with the Las Vegas Strip, where those properties are lucky if they see the same person every year or every couple years. What you have to understand is our properties really are a place where people gather to be entertained and to socialize. Literally, our blackjack dealers and our cocktail waitresses, they know the first name of the customers. They know how many kids they have. They may know how many grandkids they have. It really is kind of the Cheers of the casino industry. In addition to that, one of the things we love about our business is that 67% of our total revenues come from gaming. Why is that important? Gaming is a very high margin business, right? As you generate revenue through a slot machine or through table games, labor does not make up a large component from an expense standpoint, and there's high operating leverage. So every dollar we can generate, additional dollar through a slot machine, it flows through at a very high margin of about 75 to 80%. So massive operating leverage. Compared to the Strip, where now, because of all the restaurants and retail and the shows, gaming only represents about 25% of their business. So our businesses are quite different in that way. This leads to industry high margins. So historically, we've always led the industry from a margin perspective. We continue to kind of operate in that mid to low 40s% from a margin standpoint, which obviously is an indicator of a very healthy business. As Frank mentioned, we are developers at the end of the day. We're entrepreneurs. We go out, we find a piece of property, we start with a clean sheet of paper, we design these properties for the different markets that we operate in. And sometimes it's all in the details, right? It's in the things that sometimes the customers maybe don't know that they see. We spend hours and hours and hours arguing of what size the parking space should be. Should it be 8 feet or should it be 10 feet? How is the ingress egress? How many entrances should we have? So it's not about just all the beauty that the properties have, but the way they work and the way they operate. Because of this, we've been able to generate very high return on investment. This is over our entire portfolio that we built, over 25% return on an annual basis compared to some of the more successful properties, specific properties on the Strip. And remember, this started with the family business, small family business, 100 slot machines, 4 table games, 90 employees. When me and Frank took over leadership of the company, in 1993, the company was doing the one property was doing about $43 million in EBITDA. We've grown over the last 31 years to the point where we're generating about almost $900 million in EBITDA, and that represents about an 11% return over a 31-year period compounded. Of course, we couldn't accomplish this without the great employees that we have. We now have 9,000 employees. We really focus on cultural service. We try to create a family atmosphere. And the fact is, we have a very high team member retention. I think 1/3 of our overall employees have been with the company for over 10 years. Many of them have been with us for over 30 years. And there's a reason for that. I'll give you an example. As you all can remember, not long ago when COVID hit, It was a scary time. Nobody knew what was going to happen. The day after everything got shut down, 206,000 employees on the Las Vegas Strip got laid off. And you can imagine 206,000 people trying to get onto the Nevada unemployment portal. They were freaking out because they couldn't log in. They didn't know if they were going to get their unemployment benefits. And me and Frank, as owners of the business, made a decision. We said, you know what? The most important thing to our business are our employees. And that day, we communicated to everyone that no matter how long the shutdown was going to last, of course, we didn't know what was going to happen, everyone was going to continue to get a paycheck. They didn't have to worry. They were not going to be unemployed. And when the casinos finally did reopen, everyone would have their job. And what this does is that's the culture of the company. It creates that foundation of trust, and it creates that foundation that people want to work for us. When we just opened the Durango Casino, we had 30,000 applications for 1,900 jobs. We've been named 4 years in a row the top employer in the state of Nevada, the top employer in the casino industry. We're the only company in the history of the gaming industry that's been named by Fortune as one of the 100 best companies to work for. So obviously something is very, very important to us and our success as a company. So Frank talked about growth, and I'm going to give you real quick. So one of the key components about our company that's different from other gaming companies is we own all of our buildings and all of our real estate. Many of the bigger operators on the Las Vegas Strip have sold their properties to REITs, real estate investment trusts, and they then lease their casino operations from those buildings, from those owners like Vici and GLPI. Well, one thing we know, and I'm sure you guys all understand this, leases and rent never goes down. It only goes up. And you can't pay it off. It's not like debt that you can pay down and get rid of it. This lasts forever. We don't like that. We like owning our properties. We think it creates more value for us, more financial stability, allows us to reinvest in our properties so we're always competitive. And we think that gives us an advantage and a point of differentiation. In addition to that, we talk about how we're going to grow. David had mentioned, Frank had mentioned, we're always about the long term. We hold pieces of property, we put them in a land bank, and then when the population grows around those pieces of property, we develop them. And historically, we've had great returns. So we have about 452 acres located around the valley that are held for development. So if you go back to this slide, or this map that Frank talked about, with the properties, the stars are existing operating properties. The black diamonds represent the pieces of property that we hold around the valley for future development. Now, these are in the areas where the growth is, and the growth is really made up of higher income demographics. I'll tell you that where these black diamonds are, 70% of the new residents that will move to Las Vegas over the next 10 years will live within 3 miles of one of our new properties. So, to wrap things up, we love doing business in Nevada. Frank mentioned it's by far the most stable from a business standpoint, a regulatory standpoint. They embrace the gaming industry, low taxes. It's just a great place to do business. Within Nevada, we think we're in the best market in Nevada. Has the best supply-demand dynamics. Limited supply. Can't build any more of these joints. Talk about irreplaceable assets. These are irreplaceable. You can't build a competing casino across the street. It will never happen. In addition to that, you have growing demand through the population growth. And we believe that we're the right company to do this. We have a long-term historical track record of getting high returns on investment. As I mentioned, north of 25%. That's on an unlevered basis. So we've been able to create a lot of shareholder value through the years. From that, we're very happy that Ron and David are shareholders, and hopefully they'll be shareholders for a lot longer because we have a lot more to do and a lot more to accomplish. With that, I'll wrap that up, and I want to thank everybody.
So does anyone have questions, or we can, I can, 6?
So one of the largest growing forms of gambling currently, especially with young men, is online sports betting, your DraftKings, FanDuels of the world. And it's becoming available in more and more states, like in my home state of North Carolina this past year. So my question is Red Rock going to make an effort to get into this market, or is it a future plan?
So we have been operating a racing sports book, I think we're the oldest operator of racing sports in Las Vegas currently today. I think we opened our sports book back in the late 1970s.
Late 1970s.
Late 1970s. And of course, we see the expansion, what's going on, online betting, it's a tremendous market. I will tell you that we are the number one or number two player in the state of Nevada from a market share standpoint. However, when we looked at some of these new states and where they were expanding, does it make sense to go to Illinois? Does it make sense to go to New York? We didn't feel like that it made sense to invest our capital and our shareholders' capital to chase that because we didn't have any advantage. We like doing business where we have an advantage. In Las Vegas locals market, we are about 50% of the market. We have the strongest brand and we have the advantage. We never want to go into a market where we feel like we have a disadvantage, and the only advantage we have is to see how much money you can spend in marketing to gain market share. We didn't like that. It looks like the two dominant players now are going to be DraftKings and FanDuel, great companies, good for them. It just wasn't something we felt was appropriate for us to try to go, and some companies who haven't been successful there have blown hundreds and hundreds, if not billions of dollars, and they don't have a lot to show for it. And we just didn't think that was a good kind of risk assessment for our company.
3.
Yes, how much is an issue of scarce water for your growth demands in California? I mean in Nevada, not California, Nevada.
Go ahead.
So it certainly historically has been an issue. I will say that one of the things that the politicians did a really good job with in Nevada going back 20, 25 years ago was they really got ahead of things. It's hard to believe, but even with all the growth that Frank talked about in hotels and population, we actually use less water in Las Vegas than we did 25 years ago, if you can believe that. It's because every drop of water that goes through the sink, flushed in a toilet, anything that is, in the drains gets reclamated and then gets put back into the reservoir at Lake Mead. So we've done a great job at conserving water. And our understanding is that water really isn't going to be an issue for growth of the city. Now, are we going to be able to build another lake like at Bellagio? Probably not, but it's not going to restrict population growth or resort growth on a go-forward basis. Now, California gets most of the water coming out of the Colorado River. I'm sure at some point there'll be a negotiation to figure out, how Nevada maybe gets a little bit more, they get a little bit less. There'll be a knife fight about all that stuff, but we don't think it's going to prohibit our success as a company.
Did we have? I can't see. Do we have 6 again? Or 10?
First, Ron, we just want to thank you for another great conference and continuing to educate and entertain us, so thank you for that. My question to Frank and Lorenzo is, with Formula One in Las Vegas, how do you see that impacting not just Las Vegas, but as you mentioned, your local enterprise?
I didn't understand.
Yeah, he was asking about Formula One. How would it affect
Formula One.
Las Vegas and our business?
Formula One, the first year was a little bit choppy on how long it took to do the setup and the teardown of the temporary track. And it impeded quite a bit of traffic and business on the Las Vegas Strip. I think the winners of the last Formula One were really the high-end resorts, like Wynn Resorts. I think that's the type of customer that comes to Formula One. They want the best, and they're willing to spend money. I think a lot of the middle of the market resorts didn't really benefit and might have actually gotten hurt a little bit by the lack of ability to get to and from the facilities. Even employees had a hard time getting to and from work. maybe without Formula One, it takes them 30 minutes. There's stories of people taking up to 4 hours with traffic problems to get to work. It seems like this year that Formula One has done a better job on getting a quicker buildup of the facility, and they'll have a quicker teardown. And I'm sure over time, this event will become more and more refined. But I think for the most part, it really hasn't had an impact on our business. I think a lot of our customers don't want to go down to the city center and fight traffic. They pretty much stay home and go to our places, which are close to them. We wish a lot of success, of course, to Formula One. And I tell you, the Super Bowl is probably one of the better things that's happened to Las Vegas. And now we have the Oakland Athletics coming to Las Vegas in the near future. That'll be good. And there's a lot of talk about an NBA franchise coming to Las Vegas as well. With that, I don't know if you have any other comments.
Yeah, we kind of moved away from, they came to us, Formula One, wanted us to spend millions of dollars to be a sponsor. We said, we're not going to do that. We're going to go the other direction. So we marketed to all of our out-of-town guests and said, if you could care less about Formula One and you want to come to Las Vegas, come stay with us, because you won't have to fight all the traffic and you'll be able to have an enjoyable experience and gamble all you want. So.
We'll do last one, number 9, up there.
Yes, hi. Congratulations on the phenomenal growth you've achieved for Red Rocks over the last 30 years. What are your succession plans?
Why do we look old?
What is our what?
What are our succession plans? I said, do we look old? Well, look, it is a family business. Frank has children that have grown up in the business. They're learning the business the same way that we are. It's just kind of as the generations go on and trying to teach them as far as how to, be a good steward of the company, what the company values are, what the product is, how to understand what the customer wants. We have that in place in addition to having a very talented professional management team. I mean, look, me and Frank now at this point in our career, we get to do the really fun stuff. Like, we're not doing labor charts anymore. We did them in the past, and we did all of that kind of daily work. Now it's about, okay, what's next? What's the next property we want to build? What's the next expansion we want to do? How are we going to position the property? And what's the product going to be? And we have some incredibly talented people that really handle the ins and outs of the day-to-day business on casino, food and beverage, expense control, all of those type of things. And of course, we still stay in tune to that. We want to know what's going on, and we give direction. But at the end of the day, I think this company, no matter what happens to us, is in tremendous hands. And at the end of the day, the amazing thing about this business and the strategy that's been set up, as I mentioned before, you look at those properties that we have spread out throughout the Las Vegas Valley and the pieces of property we have held for development. That's it. There can't be more properties built. There can't be more competition, right? So we've insulated ourselves. I hear a lot about one of your other great investments, Vail Resorts, right? They're not building any more mountains, right? It's an irreplaceable asset. These, as well, are irreplaceable assets that generate a ton of free cash flow every year, provide a great return on investment.
And they're only going to get better with time.
And they're only going to get better with time with the operating leverage and the growth in the market of the population. I get the question all the time. I think you may have asked me this. What could go wrong? Like, what could prevent this growth story? And we talk about a lot that the number one provider of new residents to Nevada are people moving from California. And I said, well, I guess the only thing that could maybe hurt us is if the government in California actually started acting in a sane manner. And I said, I like our shot. I like our chances going forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.